Now, the annual Hickory Street Harambee Festival is back in Springfield today, marking the first of the two-day celebration. Western Mass News reporter Reagan Stoddard joins us live in studio after speaking with some of the people who made it all happen. Reagan.
Maria, the festival is of course a fun way to bring the community together and enjoy lots of great food and music, but also understanding the African American culture within the Springfield community. Beginning in 1968, the Harambee Festival started to honor and celebrate the creative achievements of the African American community here in Springfield. Food, culture, art, fashion, and music were all on display Saturday at Springfield's Bolden Park. Western Mass News spoke with Veronica McNear, the festival's president and organizer, about how the festival not only is about more than just fun, it also offers resources to the community that they might not have access to otherwise.
And we're able to bring resources and information to people that sometimes struggle to find it. And so it's not just about coming out having fun. It's also, we like to pride ourselves on linking people to community resources.
And this year offering a special opportunity for young entrepreneurs in the community.
We also gave the opportunity for youth to vendor for free. So we gave them the opportunity to display their talents and gifts.
Western Mass News spoke with one of those young vendors who hopes their hard work today pays off for a trip to Disney World, but says today has been rewarding.
It feels good when you have to work hard for something because you can enjoy it better.
Many young people from the community joined one another at the Harambee Festival. And we spoke with some residents about the importance of showing the younger generations the African American culture in Springfield.
It's important that we celebrate our culture as opposed to the European culture that we were raised with and knew nothing about who we were as a people.
We spoke with Tracy Talbert, Franklin County Racial Justice and Community Engagement Leader, about how rewarding it is to share different aspects of the culture to the community.
There's so many beautiful elements to our culture, and I think people who don't understand it need to ask questions, they need to show up, they need to support, and they just need to be aware of what is really happening in the Black culture.
The weekend-long festival allowed for the community to highlight their own culture while also learning and sharing with the other cultures that they are surrounded by. Reporting in studio, Reagan Stoddard, Western Mass News.
Thanks for that live report, Reagan. Sports fans were in for a